Hey everybody, it is Marty, the JavaScript party, and my buddy Rhett there. I did go into work today. It went fairly well. Um, my boss is very, very nice and kind individual. So, and I have valuable skills that are unusual. I've been literally writing front end code since 1996. So, um, you know, that's when I put my first website up. And so I've seen a lot of stuff that you just won't, no one will ever have a chance to see, you know, like no, it's very difficult to experience the actual creation of CSS, like I was around when CSS got created and stuff. So, I just have, I think we saw each other. I mean, it was good day. I definitely think that my path is. I think being a computer programmer has a very limited future, and I think it's like I read that people who there used to be professional people who did algebra for a long time, but now I think being able to do algebra is part of a profession. Like you expect a lawyer to know how to do algebra, you expect an accountant to know how to do algebra, or an engineer, or a bus driver. Really, you expect anybody to be able to do at even that you expect the average carpenter and construction worker and everyone should know how to do algebra. There probably used to be people who would just read for a living. Like, okay, your job is you're on the team and you're the one that knows how to read. And then got to the point where they needed everybody to be able to read. And I think programming is headed there. Although I think programming has been very, very like diminished by a lot of bad impressions. Like, I don't know what's going on there. And then I wonder, like, I always read about alchemy, and there used to be like an entire study of alchemy. And I think that must have been one that just got really screwed up. And now, like, we don't even know what that was. It's like making magic potions to help you live forever or convert lead into gold. I don't think, I bet that's not what that was, but we don't really know what it was because I think it got kind of socialized in a very weird way, and it seems like computer programming is going down that path. But anyways, so I did notice this is such a one step forward, two steps back, or maybe two steps forward, one step back. Um, so the reason why I was just like, man, I don't know about Viz, render, blah blah blah, yesterday in yesterday's video, is because visualization probably is another interface. We probably should have an ST visualization that describes the width and height of the visualization, and it doesn't necessarily have to be the exact same width and height of the renderer. And there's no reason for them to be the same. They probably should be the same, but maybe not always. And we don't know. But I do think that this would be a good day to add another interface, and that is our visualization interface, which will kind of match up with, sort of align with this thing, because it was really, really bugging me that this was called Viz, and then the interface was a renderer, and I was like, well, should it be renderer and all that? And it's like, no, there should be a visualization interface. So let's go to our packages, package.json, and let's see. I think that I think that I want to go into law. My son is an attorney, and I think I would love to be a paralegal. And so it's funny because yesterday, or maybe, yeah, yesterday and the day before yesterday, I went to our local college, Kansas State University's website, and I was trying to get information because I knew they had a paralegal program, and I had thought that it was very interesting. And then it was just like the website said there are no program, there's no classes. I was like, oh crap! It looks like they canceled them, whatever. But they had like an email button, so I clicked the button, and to get like, and I asked, hey, do you guys intend to get your courses back or whatever? And I just literally got an email that was just the exact everything, the exact page I was just looking at. That was all it was. It was just like, so I was like, okay, well, I guess no one's, maybe they just shut the whole program down and this is just the automated result. And so then I did a search today on local paralegal things because I had found a couple others, and and that came back. Kennesaw State one came up, and it's just like, oh my god, what a horrible bug to have on your website to say you just don't have any courses, and then when you ask for information, it just sends you a page that is literally an identical of the page, the HTML, and it's like we don't have any courses when they actually did have courses. Oh, what a crazy world we live in. I mean, all of our technology is so screwed up right now. Um, Visualization. And I don't really understand it. I think a lot of companies just put like, um, they just like put their nephews and stuff into these positions. They're like, oh, someone's like, it's like, okay, so a lot of Americans, this is not true of foreign developers. This is, I think, very uniquely American. And for some reason, we think it's like of developers, but like most Russian and Indian and other types of developers are usually not like what we would call geeky or nerdy. They're generally not. And but in the United States, we've got this sort of thing where we think that um, developers are supposed to be geeky and nerdy, and then like I think like some powerful person or rich person has a nephew or a child that's geeky and nerdy, and just assumes that they're really a good computer programmer. I don't know. That's just a stab in the dark. I don't really know what's going on. All I know is the computer programming field in the United States is completely and utterly screwed up right now. And I just don't even know. I'm at my wit's end on what to do about it. Oh, visualization. Yeah, that's right. Okay, so I'm going to run this. I'm going to expect a new interface to show up. And so it is definitely not a 3 interface, right? It's not. Um, yeah, it's a standalone, and animation, visualization, triple, and 3. So I guess that's okay. I mean, it's 4 things. Um, yeah, it kind of seems like we might end up with animation and visualization showing up, both being in the same directory. But for now, this is what we have. All right, so now let's go to the next step. And basically, I think a visualization is going to have a width and then that is a number. And then I'm wondering if we should have the background color height. I think I'm just going to go with the width and height for now. We can add background color or something else to it, maybe title. Well, I do think we're going to end up needing names on all of these things. But for now, we're just going to add width and height. Oh, and a visual and a renderer. And then we're going to want to export that from our index. So export star from slash. So we're going to export it from there, and then we are going to want to create a visualization in our app component. Not in our app component, in our viz component. I don't even know if we're creating. So we do create our renderer. So we know that our const st visualization is an st visualization, and this is equal to an object that has, and we're just going to hard code the width and the height for now. Width, and I believe it was like 150 or something, right? Am I right? Am I right? Let's see. No, 200. Alt left. 200. Comma. Height is equal to 200. And render is equal to st render. Now I'm wondering, like, do we need to name all this stuff st? I guess we should. st with w st h and st r. And let's go back and fix our visualization interface. With st height and st render. And that's good. So now we have that visualization. Now, I believe, I can't remember now. I just watched the video too. I guess I was a bit distracted. So we have our st render, which gives us our base render, which gives us, from there we have a width and a height. Now, how did we set the width and the height in the app? Render set size. Okay, so I don't know. It seems like we want to do that in here, but that might not be right. But let's just go ahead and do that. St render. No? We have a renderer, right? We have our st renderer. We have our render view to this renderer. Yeah, so we have our render. Okay, yeah, we got that up here. This dot renderer. Set size. And this is where, like, it'd just be really easy. Like, we're gonna have to be very disciplined to not just move on, and you know, because we really want to make sure we do all this stuff right. And it's just going to take forever. It's going to take a lot of discipline. St width. Is it width? I think it's width in the height. Do you know, Rhett? Okay, yeah. So it goes width first and then height second, which is very typical, but not doesn't isn't always the case. I think it's been always the case with ThreeJS though. But you know, every once in a while, I end up getting burned by not double checking. Okay, so let's see what we got here. Oh, oh. So yeah, so now we got these two matching up. That is very empowering. Okay, so the width and this height all match up. Um, so I think the next step is, let's go back to the app and see what would be the next step. I guess the next step would be to, so we set the site. We're not going to set the animation loop at this point because there really isn't anything. I guess we're, the next thing will probably be to add a camera. So if we want to add a camera, I wonder how the background of this thing got set to black. I don't. Maybe that's just like the default when you add, well, so we never actually render it, right? So yeah, if we want to render it, we should do that. This render. Oh, so we need to create a scene in the camera before we can even render anything. So yeah, I think we need to create our camera, and I think we need to create our scene, but I don't think we necessarily need to, and that's kind of nice. It looks like all we have to do is this to create a scene. But we probably want to have like a manager, you know, basically something along the lines of how we do this visualization in our service. For all those pieces, golly, it's just gonna take freaking forever to do this. Yeah, so we want to have like something to create our camera, and then we pass it, and something to create our scene, and then we pass it, and it returns that. And we want it to kind of be like this renderer service where it has an ID and all that, but we don't really want the IDs. I don't like how I did it here. So this is my ID. And then get render ID. And then we don't really ever, okay, so the render, so the ID ends up just being sort of side of sort of that. I don't know. So what I'm arguing with myself about is, should the renderer ID, I think the renderer ID should be in, also in this renderer interface. So in this interface for the 3, and then our renderer, ST renderer, we should have to have an ID. ST ID, and that should be that same number. And it's absolutely required. So something should break when I save this, and hopefully it's not in too many places. What is this? What are you? Okay, so in our renderer service, it's ST renderer, and we create this. Oh, and this is our get base renderer. Okay, so we should have to give it the ID. Render ID, which is a number, and then I believe it's an ST ID. Oh gosh, and I really need to name that out. that needs to be a renderer ID because this will get very, very confusing. Renderer ID. Because if everything had an STID, then trying to figure out which one you're dealing with it will be very difficult. So now we got to go back to here and change that to ST renderer ID. And then we still should have some stuff broken. I guess we'll go to this one first. Renderer ID. I think it's just saying that it needed to be there. What is this one? What is this guy's problem? Oh, we need a comma there. Wow, this is making me a little loopy. Loopy. All right, so now this is saying that this is screwed up because of this. And we have a renderer ID right there, so. And I think that's good. So now we have our renderer ID. I think everything, oh, no, we still have a problem. Oh. Okay, I think in. So up here we have a little bit of an issue with the order. So I think what we need to do is move this guy down here and then change this guy to ST renderer ID, and it is equal to renderer ID. And I think I must have hit the insert button. Yeah. And comma. Now. Okay, so now we're back. So now our object knows the renderer ID that was created for this renderer. So next we're going to have to do all of that for camera. And then after that, we're going to have to do all of that for scene. So basically, scene, we're going to have to go into the interfaces, we're going to have to come into camera, add an ST camera ID, and then when we create a camera, we're going to have, so I think in the app, right now we created a camera. Let's see, how do we create a camera? I think we do it right here. See, new perspective camera. See, but we really want this to be like a call that is like this. And that basically gets everything all set up for us. And the reason we need that is because, you know, I want to have like 10 of these, so they're going to all have to have their own IDs and all that. So, oh man, that path that I was talking about of going down this just got a lot wider. It's just, there's like, I think we're going to need the same thing for geometries and materials and meshes and all that, so that we could kind of manage our state and all that. So anyways, this is probably a long, it's not terribly long video. Like it felt really long to me because I guess I worked today. You know, when you have to work, when you have to actually work, and you don't get to just make videos and screw around with ThreeJS all day. It takes they seem a little longer. But anyways, yeah. So here we are, slowly grinding forward. Hopefully, we end up in a place where we end up with a cool project that like has like, my hope is that, you know, like when I mouse over, this will turn into a little hand. I'll be able to move them around. I could have like 10 of these things. Maybe I could have a big one that's like this big, and then a little one, and they can be here, and like maybe the little one is like looking from the top and the big one is looking from the front, you know, and stuff like that, where we have the same scene. and but we're seeing that exact same scene from different angles and stuff like that. I just think that could be really cool. Um, but yeah, got a long ways to go. This foundational setup is just taking forever. So happy coding, everybody. Bye.